Welcome to Flash from Scratch Tutorial 4 Pencil Tool. I have the CS5 program opened on my computer. I'm going up to File. I'm going to open a new FLA, keeping the default. Closing up my Properties panel for a second. And I'm going to put my stage to about, well, hundreds are good, 100%. Here's the pencil tool that we're talking about. And the pencil tool works basically with this color swatch right here. Basically, if you have the pencil selected, select here and pick one of these colors up. There's a blue. Let's pick. There's a blue. So let's start by drawing a line, a straight line. Not too straight. So if you go up to this thing called the selection tool, select it. Come down here. You see I got that fuzzy square, and then I get that arch that tells me I'm on the line. Double click it and go down here, and I have two options. I can make it bent or I can make it a bit straight. So what I'm going to do is come back on it. See those crosshairs? Right click, copy that line. Come back down here, right click, paste in place, and now there's two lines. Grab that one and bring it down. So now this one's selected. Let's click this here. See this? This is straightening it. And it's almost a straight line. Actually, it is a straight line. Let's see what happens with this one. And there's a slight curve. If you try to bring them together, there's actually a slight curve on that top one. Can you see that? This is almost touching here. Slight curve. Let's do that again in a different manner. Let's make a squiggly line. Grab the selection tool. Click on it till the whole thing highlights. Get those crossed hairs, right click, copy it. Come back down on the stage, right click, paste in place. Bring it down ever so slightly. Now, this one that's selected, let's straighten this out. And that's what we get after several clicks with the straightener. Now let's smooth it out. And you can see the results are similar, but this one here tends to give you corners, angles, whereas this one wants to try to make it a sweep. Select all that and delete it. Let's go back to this pencil selection and let's draw a line. There it is here. Let's open the Properties panel here. In the Properties panel, there's a lot of things about this line. First thing I want to do is with this Properties panel open is take my selection tool, double click on this or click until the whole thing highlights, and I can change the color. Pretty obvious. I can either type in here or I can move this line to change the height of or the width of the line, whichever you want to call it. Right. That's fuzzy, or pick up your selection tool, delete that. Let's go back to drawing a line with this pencil. Now that's very thick. I don't want that font. I don't want that size. I want it about 2 pixels. And let's go back to a color black. And let's draw a line. There's the line. This is a solid line. It's too high. It's black. And it's called solid. So let's do the same thing. Let's click on it. Right click, copy it. Paste in place 1, 2. Okay. So now, if I look at these, I'm going to deal with them one at a time. Double click on this top one and come down to here where it says cap. There's a pull down menu. Click on this cap. This one says it's got a square cap. That's the end. Double click on this one or until it becomes solid. Now open the cap and make this one round. Now if I go in on them, I'm going to modify them, change the size of my stage. There they are. I'm just clicking off the side to get rid of them fuzzies. And you can see that one is definitely square, that one's rounded. On most drawings that doesn't matter. I'll draw one more line here and we'll cap it with the I'll just straighten it out here so it has about the same concept. And I'm going to put no cap on it, and the no cap is almost identical to the square. There is some difference, but I think it has something to do with the way it ends. I think on this non-cap, I think the line stops exactly where you stop it. I think here there's a little bit of an extension. For example, I might be able to demonstrate that. If I make it a curve and double click on it, right click, copy it, paste it again. We might see it here. This is the non-capped one. Well, they're both non-caps, but this one I'm going to make square. And if you look, they're slightly different. If I could take this one and put it over the top of that, it's almost directly on top, and you can see that the one that's been capped has a little extension. It's actually longer than the original. Okay, back to my pencil tool. I'm going to go back down to 50% with my selection tool. Select that, delete it all. Should be around 100%. Pick up my pencil and I'm going to draw like an angle in one sweep. I'm not leaving my mouse key go. I'm going to selection tool, click on it, double click. I'm going to smooth it out. Right click, copy. Right click, paste in place, and bring it down here. So now I have two of the exact same things. I'm going to double click on the top one, and it's this joint I want to talk about. Let's make this one as a beveled. It's called beveled. Let's make this second one here round, and let's double click on it. Let's copy it. Let's paste in place again. Bring it down, and we'll make this one the mitered. We'll miter it, and we'll exaggerate it. We'll make it about 60. And if we can look really closely, I don't know if we're going to see it or not. That one there, you see it's cut off. That's cut off. I think that's the round, or that's the beveled. This one was the rounded one. It's rounded, and there's the miter. So there's definitely a difference. Hard to see, but a difference indeed. Did I do everything I wanted to do? Yep, let's go back to 100%. Selection tool. Let's remove that. So the last thing I want to show you is when you take the pencil tool and let's say you make a box, which we've already done. Highlight it, click on it, becomes relatively square. The X and Y coordinates of that box are right here. The X meaning where it is horizontally, the Y where it is vertically. The width and the height are here. When you draw, it's called a shape. And what's very important about the shapes is no matter how big we make it, it doesn't become fuzzy like a bitmap would. Okay, so one more thing, take the pencil. Keep around a 2 stroke height. We're using solid. Let's try dashed. Now we can draw, and it'll be dashed lines. Or we can draw with dotted lines. I don't know where you would choose these. Ragged lines, a little bit beat up. Stipped, S-T-I-P-P, stippled, S-T-I-P-P-L-E-D, that's like a fuzzy wall. And hatched. So you have all these different, this stippled one, if you made it a very wide font, I don't know if we can get up to 20, let's look at 20, and drew something, you'd have that, it'd be good for fill. I think that's enough for now, so let's clean up here, put the style back to solid, put the stroke height back to 1, Select normal here if we change that. My cap I want rounded, and my joint I leave rounded. Close the property panel. Come down here in the stage, selection tool, right click on the stage, select all, press your delete it, that'll clean all that up for you. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learned.